Hi everyone, I'm back to do another beginner video, and this is going to be a very basic, very beginner video. I have a friend who is just starting out or just coming back to mixed media, and I told her I would throw together a video for her, kind of using the same products that she has. So I know that she has Gesso, so I'm going to use that. The brand doesn't matter, so if you have Gesso, pull it out, great, follow along. She has matte medium, again, whatever adhesive you have. You can use PVA glue, you can use Modge Podge, you can use matte medium from any brand, it does not matter. You can use, what can you use? If you have a heavier matte gel, you can water that down. You can not water it down. Whatever adhesive you prefer to use. She is also going to be using acrylics. I'm an acrylic-free zone or studio, but I have something that I'm going to make acrylic so I can use it the same way she would acrylics. So I've got my distress stains that I've had, and I'm going to turn these into acrylic paints so they'll function the same way as acrylics would. She has also some molding paste, and I'm going to use my paste. I have chalk paste. It all works the same. So if you have texture paste, sand paste, molding paste, chalk paste, modeling paste, texture paste, any kind of paste, heavy gesso, it will even work in a pinch. Whatever you have, get it. If you don't have any kind of paste at all, take your gesso, your regular gesso, add some baby powder to it. If you're just starting out and you have just the very basic supplies, do that. It'll work just great. I used to do that back in the day. It's not archival, but that's not the purpose of this video. The other thing you're going to want is any kind of paper that you like to work on for background, whether it's scrapbook paper, old book text, magazine paper, any kind of decorative paper, tissue paper, wrapping paper, any kind of paper you like to use, pull it and bring it. And then a stencil of your choice, preferably one that has lots of lines or lots of intricate designs in it. And then you're going to want a plain piece of scrapbook paper, or in this case I'm using an old recycled greeting card that hasn't been used. We're going to cut a shape out of it. So you'll want something that's a little more, you can use printer paper, but you're probably going to want something a little thicker. So that's what this is for. Spray bottle of water maybe. Paintbrush, one will do. You can use flat, you can use round. This is a stipple brush. Again, any kind of paintbrush will do, whatever you prefer, whatever you have. This is all basics. Go in, use what you have, nothing special, nothing pricey, very beginner friendly video. Then you'll want a pencil maybe, a pen, either waterproof or not waterproof. I have the Uniball Vision. These are waterproof. They're great to have in the studio. And I have the Food Ball. These are not waterproof, but it's very nice black. And I like the fact that it's not waterproof. So the choice is yours. It does not matter. We're not going to do any drawing per se. You're using this for one purpose only, and it does not matter, and it does not have to be perfect. So don't get scared about having to bring a pencil to the table. Trust me, you'll be fine. So with that, maybe you'll want a palette or a paper palette, or in this case, a styrofoam plate. See, we're going all out, all expenses here in this video. This is what I'm going to mix my paint on when I'm ready, because I have to mix mine. So that's another thing too. If you have acrylic inks, or you have distress stains, or even gelatos, or any kind of water-soluble medium, and you kind of want to play in the acrylics realm, but you don't want to buy acrylic paint, you can do that. You can take your liquid mediums of any sort and add gesso to them or matte medium and make them an acrylic type medium. And that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm using the plate for. So if you're coming to the table with acrylics, you don't need the fancy plate that we're going to be using. Okay, now my friend has, she has a bunch of different colors of paints. She's got some teals and, you know, she's got a bunch of different colors, but I know I pulled some that she has. You're welcome to pull whatever colors you want to work with. She has some, I think a violet or a purple in her mix, so I pulled a couple of different purples. She has a turquoise or a teal in her mix, so I pulled the evergreen, which is kind of a tealish, purplish, or tealish greenish blue, so it could go in the turquoise family. She has some browns and blacks, so, you know, we'll be able to make that, and so I pulled the Old Paper Distress Stain and the Ground Espresso because she has brown and black, and I also pulled the Hickory Smoke. So with all these colors, I'll be able to get close to the colors that she has. I also have my acrylic ink to pull the black, but I'm figuring I'm going to use this guy because it's water soluble for any black that I want. So without further ado, the first thing you're going to want to do, very first thing, is take your paper. Now, if you prefer to tear it up into different pieces, or you're using multiple papers for your background, maybe you want to mix and match your papers, go ahead and do that. I'm using this as it is, as you see it. I'm not going to, I'm going to try to get this whole middle section here. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to adhere this down. And if you've never worked in mixed media, excuse me, or never worked with this type of media before, what you want to do is put down your glue, put down your paper, and then cover the top with glue. And that's whether you're doing it in one whole piece or in multiple pieces, right? So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to take my, well, if I was a little bit more prepared, let me get a towel here. So I'm going to get my glue brush out. Now I do keep, if you're new, I do keep separate, I do keep a bucket over here on my table, and I do keep one, it's a two-part bucket. And one side has water for my glue brushes, and one side has water for my gesso brushes. So that's just a helpful tip if you are new. And this little Dawn bottle, it's not soap. I use that to put my matte medium in. So this is another friendly tip. If you buy bigger containers of Modge Podge or your PVA glue or whatever medium you like to adhere down with, you know, we get those big bottles, right? And it's nice, right? But you don't want to keep dipping and contaminating your jar, right? So take some, when you get an empty soap bottle, rinse it out really good, get the soap out of there, and put your medium in there. So then that way you can just easily squirt some on your paper when you're ready to collage with. So that's just another friendly tip for people that are new or just beginning. So go ahead, get your page good and lathered. Now if you're doing this where you're tearing up paper and putting in different papers, that's fine too. Go ahead and take the time to do that. Rip your paper or cut your paper. You know, some people are type A and some people are type B. Whatever you prefer is fine. There's no right or wrong. In this project, and there really is no right or wrong in art, in this project there's no right or wrong. Definitely. This is a kind of go as you flow project. There's not going to be anything that's, and there's no art judge here too. It's going to be whatever you like. And then I'm going to take, let's squirt a whole bunch on the top too. And if I was really smart, I would have put on the back too, but I didn't. I think I might have to tear it off. We'll see. Nope, it's adhering good. You want to make sure you burnish the page on there. It's always good, and I didn't do it on this one, but it's always good to, especially on thicker papers. Now, if you're using magazine paper, not so much. And you can always take a credit card and smooth it down if you want to. But it's always good to do the substrate, such as the book or your canvas or whatever you're using. And then again, this project, it doesn't matter what you use. Whatever you want to work on. I don't know if I said that in the beginning. I'm using a journal, but you can work on a card, you can work on a canvas, or you can work on anything. Whatever, just a piece of paper if you want. Doesn't matter, whatever makes you comfortable, right? But it's always good when you're doing collage to put glue on the substrate, glue on the back of the paper, and then put your paper down, and then put glue on the top of the paper too. Okay? Okay. So that is step one. Easy peasy, right? We picked a piece of paper that we wanted to use. We've adhered down. Now we're going to dry it. Now, if you don't have a heat gun, because maybe you're seriously just starting out, and we're going to cut off our edges, so don't worry about that. But maybe you don't have a heat gun, or maybe you haven't invested in one yet. Get out your blow dryer and use that. If you don't have either one of those, you can set this off to the side, wait for it to dry, and then come back, right? This video will be on my channel, so you can come back. You can stop it and start it whenever you like, okay? So I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to come right back. Okay, now I'm back. Now this is dry. I am going to make sure I got all my corners, because you see how I didn't get all my corners there, so I'm gonna get my brush again and get in there and get my corners. So that's a good time to check your corners. And make sure we got all our edges. Turn this around. Oh, this one was pretty good. I just missed a little bit here. Okay, then we're going to give that a quick dry. And I won't go away for this. I'll just stay right on camera for you. This won't take but a minute. Now we're done with that. We'll just go ahead and let it sit there for another second. Now let's take our card or your secondary piece of cardstock or whatever you're going to use and get out your pencil. And I'm going to draw or sketch or loosely put in 3 different size squares. Now, if you already have one of those plastic children's rulers, they have the shapes already cut out of them, you can use that. That's basically what I'm after, right? But this is a very basic video where you're just starting out and you may not have a lot of stuff in your arsenal, right, in your toolbox. And I kind of like my squares to be not perfect. Well, maybe not perfect. We'll make it a little more perfect. But okay, and then I'm gonna make one down here. So see, no real drawing is involved. You're just making the squares into that you're happy, but it doesn't matter if they're exactly straight or not. And then maybe we'll make another one here. Okay. All right. Then you're going to take scissors. That's the other thing you're going to need. And then you're going to fold it to where you can cut it. And get in there. And I'm just going to cut down to where I can cut out that square. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. You're just looking for a square area to give you a guide. Then we're going to do something really fun with this. Okay, so there's one. And again, I'm just folding it. And good, you can see. Giving it one cut there, giving it one cut there, to where I get out a little triangle. Then I can get my scissors in there. It's easier with hearts and rounded items that you can actually just cut right around. But it doesn't matter. This is fine. Okay, right around there. Okay, now we have 2. And do the same thing here, same thing there. I hope that you'll try this. Don't be afraid to try this. You know, you can do mixed media even with limited supplies. And again, you can make any shape you want. If you want circles or hearts, because I've done it with all different sort of shapes. So now what we're going to do is you can take that other stencil that you chose. Okay, so we are going to do what my technique is. That I've done time and time again. I really haven't shown it on camera much, and I haven't really done it in a long time. But I do what's called stencil and stencil. So we're going to give ourselves, we're going to make this kind of be like a tiled wall or a tiled table. That's kind of what we're going for here, right? So then, oh, you also need something else, and you can use a butter knife from your kitchen if you don't have it, or a plastic palette knife, or a real palette knife, or whatever you have. Palette knives, you can get them at the art store, or you can order them online. I know right now that people really can't get out because of the sickness that's going around. So if you don't have any kind of anything, go to your kitchen and get a palette knife. You can use that to put the paste on, right? Or you can use a plastic palette knife too. Or you can use a real palette knife. They come in different ways. I'm looking for my other one. Even if you have ones like this, you can use ones like this, spatulas. If you have a spatula in your kitchen that you don't care, once you use it in your art though, you don't want to use it for anything else. You don't want to put it back in your kitchen once you've used it. Here's the other one. Okay, so I'm going to use this plastic one because we're using limited supplies. I'll have to make sure that I keep all the supplies out that I'm using. Sorry, cracked the lamp over here in the video. Okay, so now we're going to take our paste and let me get it open here just a second. There we go. Limited supplies. Okay. And I'm just going to get my paste out here. So now, because we don't have a square stencil, right? But we have this stencil that has this funky design on it, right? But we can make it squared, right? We can do stencil in stencil. I don't see anybody else that does this, but I've been doing it a long time. And I have another video on my channel where I don't know if I don't know if I did a video with the page. I know I showed the art journal page that I did in the past year with it done. And let's see, the fold is going to be there. We don't want to. You try to avoid putting paste on your where your book or folds. That's one thing you do want to keep in mind. So I'm going to try to cut it off there. Okay. So see how you get a square. Okay. And it's a little bit messy. Don't worry about that. If you're type A, make sure you have a wipey handy. And just be careful when you're putting paste down next to another one. And you can start out anywhere. And like I said, if you're going to go circles or whatever, because maybe you're not going to go with the Moroccan style tiles. You're going with something else. Let's see. Make sure I'm recording. That's fine too. So see there. Now we have. Okay. And I'm going to kind of go back where those are at, and I'm going to just put some more paste down in those same spots. So then it kind of looks like it's an old Victorian or a Moroccan tile wall or a tile table, in my eyes anyway. Remember, art is more, when you're just starting out, it's more about the process than the actual, and sometimes you might make a mess like I did, and that's okay because that kind of lends to the self that it's an old wall, right? But what was I going to say? When you're just starting out, art is about exploring and just playing and seeing, figuring out the medium that you like to work with. Is it acrylics? Is it oil? Is it watercolor? Or do you just like to draw and sketch? Some people like to just work in colored pencil. You got to figure that out for yourself. But the only way you're going to know is by playing. Don't be intimidated by those products that are sitting there staring at you. They're saying, use me, use me. And that's what they want. They want you to use them and discover all the wonderful things that they can do. They're saying, I am not here to make you afraid. They're saying we're beautiful, we're colorful. Come explore with us. Okay. Okay. So now we've got some design on there. And I'm going to pull off the stencil. Okay, so now if you pull it off and you find that you don't have enough, dry what you've done and then go back and put some more. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to dry this, and then I might put another little bit here. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe a couple, maybe one over here, maybe one down here a little bit. We'll see. I'm going to dry it and then I'm going to come back, okay? Be right. Okay, I'm back. So I did add the 2 extra bits of gesso, or paste rather, to the substrate. And now I've got my 2 colors of paint, the main colors of paint I want to work with. And then this is just plain gesso. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my gesso brush, because I have a dedicated brush for gesso. I usually have 1 dedicated brush to my glue and 1 dedicated brush to my gesso. That's just another little helpful tip. And I'm gonna give this a light wash of gesso, just a light coverage. That's what that means when you give it a wash. And then you can, if you think it's too much, you can spray it with a little bit of water. We're just going to knock the papers back. And now if you used a very plain paper, maybe you used white tissue paper or white tissue paper with like a design on it or something like that, that didn't have a lot of color, you know, it had a very simple design on it, you may not want to do this step. But I chose a colorful design on purpose because I kind of wanted it to show through I wanted it to come through a little bit underneath the stenciling. So I'm going to knock it back a little bit around the stenciling, but then I'm going to take it off of the stenciling, if that makes sense, and I'll show you. So I'm knocking it back because we want it to look like old wallpaper or a table, you know, a Moroccan style or Spanish tile table. That's what I'm kind of going for here. Now, if you've done circles, maybe you're looking at it and it's something else. This is just to give you ideas of what you can do with limited supplies. And you don't need a lot to start, you know, especially if you're one that maybe you don't think that you draw well, or you don't like the way you draw, or you know, you need a starting point. Okay, so I'm gonna set that over there. So I'm gonna take my baby wipe and I'm gonna lightly wipe back there. I want it on there, but I don't want it too apparent or too knocked back, because we're going to put paint on these. So I'm going to wipe it back just a little bit on the paste spots, and then we're going to dry it and see if we've got enough coverage on the other part of the background. So I'm going to dry that, and you may find you want to knock it back even more. It depends on how crazy your background is. So gesso dries really quick. I kind of like that. Looking at that. Now I'm going to put some more even distressed spots in, but I'm going to kind of do like that. So it's not like straight. It's kind of, because I want it to be like wallpaper or an old wall or an old table, I kind of want it to be distressed more. I want it to be you know, not perfect lines. Okay. And you can dab your brush so it kind of puckers a little bit. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to dry that. Sorry for your ears. Get your fingers in there. Don't be afraid. Get your fingers dirty. If you're type A, put on some gloves. Just get in there and don't be afraid. I'm talking to you, my friend. You know who you are. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. All right. So now, okay, it's dry enough to go forward. You only need to dry gesso for a few minutes. Okay, to where it's like matte, you know. Okay, now we've kind of got this going on. Now, we can go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and just leave the, we'll cut off our sides at the very end. Now I'm going to get one of the other brushes that I pulled out. I don't have very many brushes that are set for acrylics because I'm a watercolor acrylic ink girl, and so I don't have really many acrylic products or brushes or that in my studio. So this is actually giving me a challenge, and this is how you work with limited products, right? So I'm just going to take my paint here, and this is the consistency of acrylic paint, right? And you can turn your page. Don't be afraid to turn your work. And I'm just gonna go give it a flicking motion a little bit. And this might be too. Let me see. Do I like that consistency? Oh, see, I'm used to transparency, so I don't know if that's going to give me enough color. I guess I shouldn't write back until I know. This is a challenge for me. I don't know if I want it thicker or not. Let me wipe off my brush a little bit. See, I'm just doing a light flick. There we go. I had too much on my brush, and I'm just going over each one a little bit. See, I haven't done acrylics in a while, so this is giving me a challenge to learn to work with acrylics again. I'm barely touching the surface. I mean, I'm barely touching it. I'm kind of just what do you call it? I'm kissing the surface. That's what it is. I'm kissing the surface of these spots where I put the raised texture with the molding paste or whatever you used. And it's okay if it goes outside the spot. If you're, that's okay. We're going to give this definition. Don't worry. Okay. Now I'm going to use a separate brush. And if you only have one brush, rinse it out. Go for it. And I'm going to kind of do on one part of it. Bring it in. Again, barely kissing the surface. This on one side. So they look like they were tiles or something. You can see that. I'm probably not doing this as well as some people, but I'm trying to make you guys see that with limited products or stuff you're not used to, because again, I'm out of my element right now because I haven't worked with acrylics in forever. And so yeah, hold on 1 second. I gotta put you on. Okay. All right. All right, I am back. All right, so I'm gonna take a look at that now, see what I think. Okay, not bad, I like it. All right, now let's dry that. Acrylic doesn't take very long to dry. So you probably notice that some of yours is already drying, which is okay. And you probably notice, like if you did like I did, some of your white's still showing through. And let me hold this up to the camera so you can see from your paste, and that's okay. Remember, this is a old distressed wall or tile table. So I'm gonna go away and dry this, and I'll be okay. I'm back. Okay, I've dried it now, and I think I want to do just another light coat of all the colors, and then we're going to give it a kiss of white. I know that seems strange, like it was white, and then we colored it, and then we're going to come back and put more white on it. Trust me, it does work. But yeah, we're going to do that after we do, because we're going to bring in, that's where I'm going to bring in the black too. Just wait. It does work. If I remember how to do it right. That's the question. Okay. I'll go back with the blue-green. Kind of like turquoise teal color. Yeah. It says it's a green, but I mean it is a green, but it's kind of, I don't know. It's a very strange color. Evergreen burrow or bow. Yeah. It's it looks very turquoisey teal to me. But what do I know?
Seriously, be responsible.
Okay. Does that look good? Do I like that now? I don't know. Alright, so let's dry this. And then we will, yeah, let's dry this really quick. Then we'll bring in some black. And if you don't have a pen that's water soluble, which is strange because usually you'll have that before you have the permanent pens. But who knows? Maybe you have really good pens because you like to sketch or whatever. Or maybe you just can't find your non-permanent pens. Maybe you have pencils, watercolor pencils, or intense pencils you can use. Or another thing you can use is, what is this? It's a, oh, what is this pencil here? Where can I find it? Maybe you have one of these. Oh, there, this should be over here. Yeah, the Stabilo, it's like a Marxall pencil, paper, glass, plastic, metal. Maybe you have one of those in your studio, even though you're just starting out. But get something that's will go on, but will give you a little bit of ability to and flexibility to make it move a little bit. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, now we're going to get it a little dirty, is I'm going to come around. And this is going to look real harsh at first. That's okay. Don't fret. Don't fret. And don't worry about perfection. Just go with it. Let it come out. however it's going to come out. Remember, if you're following along like me and you're doing the old wall, it's not going to be perfect, right? It's not meant to be perfect. So the less perfect you are, the better. And I'm making some dark lines here. And if you did the background where you tore up bits of paper and put that down, that's even better, because you'll have lines of the paper to go around. Yeah, so you can go with that's even more fun. Go around the lines of the paper, and yeah. Oops. So take your time. Don't be in a rush like I am. I'm just trying to make sure that this video isn't forever. And let's see. Okay. And again, like I said, this is going to look real harsh. That's okay. But now, and I purposely didn't do my squares perfect, and I didn't purposely stencil perfectly because I wanted that imperfect. Now, if I was doing flowers or something, I would have taken more care. But I wanted you to see that you don't have to be perfect at it. Art journaling especially does not have to be perfect. It's your journal. You do what you want. If you're type A and you want it to be perfect, take more time. Make it perfect. But you also don't have to be perfect. You can let loose and be free and do what, makes you happy. That's your free space to do what you want, right? Okay. And like I said, it looks harsh right now. It looks very boxed off, but don't worry. We're gonna make this come to life here in a minute. We're gonna fix it right up. Don't be afraid of a little bit of black. I'm not saying it's your best friend. I'm not saying that, maybe you like high contrast. That could be too, but you need a little bit of contrast in life, right? Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take another brush that I pulled out that I showed you. I'm going to take a little bit of water. I'm just going to spray it right here on my table. And now we're going to make that a little bit messy. We're going to fade out that, because we know it's not waterproof. Give it a little bit of a fade. And like I said, don't worry. You always have more gesso to cover it up if you don't like it. If you don't like this step at all, don't do this step at all and just go with it. Maybe shade with a brown or something, and just keep it, or a grade, keep it more, neutral friendly, if that's your cup of tea. I want the black, and I'm going to show you why once I go around all these. So wait until I do this part. If you want to jump right in, then follow right along. But maybe you want to wait and see what I'm doing first before you jump right in. And that noise you're hearing is my grandkids in the background. I do apologize for that. Okay. And let's see. So let's see, what's today? Thursday. Now they're getting in trouble from Mom. Yep. Yep. Because they were fighting. Okay. Oops. Okay. Now I'm just going to finish all of that and go around here on all of these. And then we're going to come back and do that little bit of white on top. And it's going to kind of fade it in and make it so it's not so harsh. I think it's going to make it less crazy on the eyes, right? It's going to just kind of knock it back in a subtle way. And that's okay if you wash away a lot of the line work. That's okay too. If you're following along in this manner, but maybe you made circles and you're doing maybe a space or you know, planets or you know, sort of that kind of thing. Or maybe you're doing let's see, you're making hearts into flowers, you know, and so you're shading with green, and so, you know, just sky's the limits with art journaling. It really is, you know, do what you want to do, and if you're making a canvas, don't be afraid to shade and push back and, you know, layer after layer. That's what mixed media is all about, is bringing in them layers and playing with your products, you know. And really, you know, if you experiment in your art journal, no one has to see it but you, unless you want to share it. You know, so don't let those products sit there and stare at you and make you feel intimidated. You are the boss of your journal. You are the boss of your art. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You know, this is your world, and yeah. So don't be afraid of that. And yeah. Just experiment, play, have fun with it. There's no right or wrong, you know. There's no rules. There are certain recommended ways to use things, but you can really do anything that you want. And you might discover something new. I mean, you know, our artists have been around for years and years and years, so there's really not much new these days, but people are discovering new ways to use products every day. And you know, you might find that you find something new. And then, you know, you might find that you're doing something some way that doesn't work for anybody else but you. You know, you got to find what works for you. And the only way you're going to find what works for you, what makes you happy, is by playing. And trust me, I used to be where you're at if you're new. Sitting there staring at your products. Oh, what do I make? Or how, I don't know if I should be using this way, or, you know, this just the blank page. Slap some paint on it, or slap some paper on it, and go to it. Trust me, I've been there. And yeah, and I got over it. Okay, it's just a piece of paper. At the end of the day, you can always turn the page. You never have to look at it again. But the only way you're going to learn what you like, or find what works for you or your style, is by getting in there and getting dirty. Okay, quickly gonna dry this. now I'm going to put those. Oh, I did not bring a cup for these paints, or for these brushes. I'm so not used to working in acrylics these days. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move those off the plate there. I am going to put down some more gesso. Not a lot, just a little bit. I'm going to take my final brush. Again, if you don't have it, rinse it out and dry it really good. And I don't know if this brush is going to work the way I think it's going to work. Again, I have not done acrylics in forever. But again, I'm going to turn my page, and I'm just going to... Probably too much again, because I'm a heavy hand. I tend to be anyway, and I'm just going to try to kiss my page a little bit. Okay, I don't think that brush is working the way I want it to. Am I recording? Yes. Okay. I like that. I don't know if I'm liking that. It's probably not doing the same job as it should, or the job I think that it should be doing, or that I want it to do. Okay, time to rinse out a different brush. So, get out this and rinse this in here. Rinse it out, clean it out, get all the purple out of there. Even if it has a little bit of purple in it, it's fine. All right, let's try this again. The stiffer the brush, the better for this. Yeah, that round brush was just not the right style brush for what I needed, but I didn't have enough brushes to play with, so I had to do what I told you guys to do, and I had to rinse out my brush and dry it and use an old one. I don't know if you guys are getting this on camera. I mean, I think I'm seeing it, but don't know. And again, I'm just lightly kissing the top of the paper all over, so it's cohesive, but definitely on where the texture is, because I don't want to totally obliterate it, but we want to kind of push it back a little bit, and the texture, we want the color there, we want to highlight it. We want to highlight those raised areas, right? The only way to do that is not to paint it, but to kiss it a little bit with a little bit of white. In some spots, maybe more than others, to make it a little more uneven. And then when you're done with the page, I'm not going to, but when you're done with the page, you can put a quote on it. You can put a flower on it. If you're doing the same style as I am, you can do anything you want. You can put anything on it. Whatever you know, makes you happy. You know, you can put a poem on it. You can journal. You can just journal on it. Journal around, you know, everything you see here. Just journal around it. I think I like that. Okay. All right, so now I think I'm going to dry that. Because again, gesso kind of dries quickly. And then we're going to cut off our edges. And then we're going to be done. Okay. Quick few minutes to put a page together. Like I said, you can put a quote on it. You can put a magazine image on it. You can draw something on it. You can journal around the boxes. You can put you know, faux flowers on it. You can do so much with it. I'm not one for putting words on it, but maybe I'll put something on it. Yeah, I don't know. Trying to think. What would I put on here? Let me go away and see what I'm going to put on here for my friends, okay? And then I will be right back. Okay, I'm recording. I'm going to write with my permanent brush pen. Make sure this is completely dry. This is a very nice pen and I don't want to ruin it. There you go. Write your own story. That's it. Write your own story, guys. You can do it. Just play. Write your own story. Be you. Do you. Play with your products. Figure out what you like, what you don't like, and figure out what works for you. What kind of artist do you want to be? Maybe you just like to play and dabble and just try all kinds of things. That's it. Just write your own story. Whatever that ends up being. And you, my friend, and you know who I'm talking to, you especially, you need to write your story. I want to hear that story. I want you to tell me that story. Because I think that when you start telling your story, you're going to love it. And so will I. Love to all of you.
Get in the shower then.
I hope you liked this video. If you did, put some comments in the box below. If you want to see more beginner videos, let me know that too. If there's anything you want to see on my channel, let me know. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.